Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted entertainment and haunted attraction industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we're back. It's a Labor Day podcast this week.
It is.
If you're in the United States, I hope you are enjoying your Labor Day today, though I'm pretty sure in the haunt industry this is the second least taken holiday.
Yeah. A lot of haunts are opening soon, so I know that last minute rush is going on. We're feeling it here. So.
And anyone who's working, a quote unquote real job.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that to me.
Yeah.
What's your real job? When those of you working a day job have today off, probably really busting butt on your haunt today. So hopefully we can provide some comfort and some solace as you are putting in those last minute touches for your haunted attraction.
Yes.
But yes, we have a lot to go over this week because this is episode 40.
Yeah.
40 is divisible by 4. Anyone that survived kindergarten should know that one.
It's 10 times divisible.
I know, it is. It's like a 4x, it's like 10x 4. It's like a thing, right?
Yes.
So anyways, what does that mean? We're doing the news. That's right. It's a news podcast this week. But we got a lot of very important news to go over. Some sad news this week, honestly. It's a bit of a downer.
Yeah, well, it's gonna happen.
It can't all be upbeat news, I guess. But, well, first things first, we want to say a big thank you to Japes Pauls, and
yes.
I'm praying I am pronouncing that right.
Yes.
We put every effort reasonably to. If we're wrong, Japes, please let us know.
Yeah.
And we will correct ourselves later. But big thank you for introducing the podcast and bringing lots of new people to it and helping us out. We really appreciate the effort.
Yep, and hopefully he'll be on sometime in the coming weeks to talk about his training actors. Yeah,
I'm actually very interested to have this conversation because he ended up...
words, Jonathan, words.
I know. You know what? We're doing this in the morning. It may not be the best time. But no, the thing about it is, he was interested in our thing about how to audition or to not audition actors.
Right.
And we've been conversing about how he trains them. He doesn't audition, he trains them. It's a very interesting process. I think it's worth talking about and exposing more people to.
Yeah.
And that is what we will do on this show at a later date. So stay tuned.
Yes. And
then he can correct us in person on the pronunciation of his name. And then I will promptly forget, because that is how it has worked every single time on this podcast.
Yes.
I would mispronounce my own name if my parents had given me one that was complex to me.
You hadn't said it for years.
Years and years. I've had lots of practice with my name. But anyways, after that, next thing is next. Conference reminders.
Yes.
So I guess I'm kicking off this week.
Sure.
Well, seeing as how this thing is going live on the 5th, you better hurry up if you're going to go to this one.
Yeah.
Because on the 9th through the 11th this coming weekend, it's Mask Fest at the Marriott Indianapolis East. You can learn more at maskfest.com. All about makeup, masks, and other things. It's slanted to a movie crowd, but can be very, very useful to a haunt owner as well.
Right. And then, September 16th through the 18th, so the very next weekend, we have Son of Monsterpalooza. It's at the Marriott Burbank Hotel in Burbank, California. More about film, but also has some makeup and horror-related stuff, so it could be pretty cool. Monsterpalooza.com for more information about that.
You don't get a lot of haunted attraction conferences this time of year.
No.
But you do get a lot of horror conferences that have stuff you might be interested in. That's why we're putting these in.
In fact, the New Orleans Horror Fest is sometime soon.
Yeah, I know, and I feel terrible that I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's something I should know off the top of my head.
Yeah, it should probably be in here, actually. But
well,
it's a thing that exists. If you're in the area, look it up.
Now, after haunt season, we begin to ramp back up as we have the legendary haunt tour. It's at Pittsburgh. It's at the Falmouth in Pittsburgh. It's hosted by the people behind Transworld, and they will be visiting the Scare House and the 100 Acres Manor. Check out more information at legendaryhaunttour.com with 2 T's.
And then, January 14th through 17th, going into the new year.
Yep.
Halloween and Party Expo. It's going to be right here in New Orleans. 350 vendors. It does require that you have a business verification. So your tax ID, your business license. Find out more at HalloweenPartyExpo.com. I'm sure they've got a way to register
they do.
online.
They've got all the steps. It's a process, but they got the steps you got to do on their site, and it's pretty cool.
Yep.
But, maybe you a little less New Orleans, maybe you wanted to go to something in Hawaii.
Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii?
Hell, I want to go to this one. Screw you guys. I don't even run a corn maze and I want to go.
Yeah.
But yes, this corn party, which they might want to workshop that name.
Yeah.
But yes, it's actually on multiple islands. I believe it's on Maui and Oahu in Hawaii. It's for operators of corn mazes, M-A-I-Z-E-S, maze. And you can learn more about it at The Maze, MAIZE.com. TheMaze.com.
And that was the 17th through the 20th of January.
Sorry, I didn't say the date.
That's okay.
Moving on.
And then, January 26th through 30th, we have HauntCon. It is going to be at the Sheraton Nashville Airport in Nashville, Tennessee. Tours of Haunted Hell Nashville on Thursday.
A Nashville Nightmare, as well as a Slaughterhouse, it looks like.
Yes. And HauntCon.com for more information on that.
Yeah.
Be sure to watch for their early registration deals.
Yes, they have HauntCon typically, like the Trans World conferences are structured so that you can get those early bird specials right to the last millisecond.
Yep.
HauntCon, less so. If you want to go to HauntCon, you want a good deal, register early.
Yep.
Don't dawdle on that one. Speaking of Trans World.
Yes.
Trans World Halloween and Attraction Show, their big dance, so to speak, will be March 23rd through 26th in St. Louis, Missouri at the America Center. Early bird discounts going from now until, like I said, March. It's $50 off a ticket, off the at-the-door price. And you can learn more at HAAshow.com. That stands for Halloween and Attraction Show.com. HAAshow.com.
All right. And then finally on our conference list is June 8th through 11th of next year, Midwest Haunters Convention. It's going to be in Columbus, Ohio at the Greater Columbus Center. Haunt tours are going to be announced later.
We're hoping.
Yeah. They generally have them, so we're assuming they're going to have them again. And it's at MidwestHauntersConvention.com where you can find more information on that.
Yes. And bear in mind, as with all of these conferences, the registration is open as you are listening to this, unless you are listening to this far into the future, at which point you are too late.
Yes.
Yes, but registration's open.
Yes.
So you can register for these conferences immediately.
As of September 5th, 2016, registration is open.
Yes. All right, there you go.
Covered.
So yeah, now we got to do the news. Or gets to do. I'm not sure which it is this month. This is a weird episode. We're getting close to haunt season, actual open season. And so we're getting a lot of stories about haunts that are opening and not opening, and so on and so forth. But we start off with a real downer for me. This is like silly depressing, even if it doesn't necessarily impact me directly. But Disney's California Adventures will be closing Tower of Terror January 2nd.
Yep. So, if you haven't experienced it and you want to, get there before next year.
And get there before January 2nd. Now, they are doing something really, really cool. They're giving it a pretty good send-off, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because starting September 9th, so just a few days from now, they're offering the late checkout experience. Mm-hmm. Which basically means you will do the ride in the total darkness.
Yeah, I think that would probably be a better way for me to do that ride.
You know... And also, it's worth noting that there is no word about the Orlando attraction, the one in
right.
It was in MGM Studios when I last went there. I'm dating myself very nicely.
Yeah.
I think it's Hollywood Studios now. But yeah, that one, to my understanding, is still going. When I went to the Tower of Terror, the damn thing was still called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. I kid you not.
Yeah.
Back when MGM had that partnership with Disney and they did theme park together.
So then I guess they realized that people just don't know what the Twilight Zone is anymore and took off that.
Well, and it was really bizarre because the plot from Tower of Terror really would not have made a very good Twilight Zone episode.
Right.
It's a fairly generic ghost story, admittedly. But it's basically, the way I would describe Tower of Terror It's what would happen if the Haunted Mansion was an honest-to-God thrill ride.
Okay.
Rather than just like a little dark ride where you're going around and looking at the holograms and stuff and oohing and ahhing, you actually have the huge drop.
Right. For the record, I've never been to any of the theme parks in Florida or California, so I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Continue. Please keep explaining.
Sorry. I have a lot of memories of the Tower of Terror,
the
one in Orlando, and it bums me to hear that the one in California, at the very least, is being closed. And by the way, it's going to be replaced by a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which sounds cool, but as a haunter, it's like, I wanted a haunty ride.
Yeah, well, you still miss the alien encounters.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it that really bugs me. It's like when Disney and horror, there's like a trifecta, right?
Right.
You had the Haunted Mansion, you had Alien Encounters, and you had Tower of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now Alien Encounters is God knows what. I think it's Stitch's Big Adventure or something like that. It's something totally different. And Tower of Terror, at least in California, is shuttering.
So does that mean that there aren't any really scary things anymore there?
No, in my opinion, no. Because, look, I love the Haunted Mansion, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful ride, and I love trying to figure out how the hell they do all that.
Right. But it's very kid-friendly.
It's very, very kid-friendly. It's got a couple of Bugatti-type scares.
Yeah.
But nothing actually meant to really, terrify you in a guttural kind of way.
Right.
It's all meant to go, type thing. It's not really meant to truly scare you.
Right.
And, it seems like Disney is getting away from that completely, and it's a little bit depressing. I mean, and the thing about Tower of Terror for me when I did it, I'll tell my story real fast about it.
Please.
I did it once with my father and once on my own, but the first time I ever did it with my dad, the Tower of Terror ride, at least the one in Orlando, once again, I'm speaking to the one in Orlando.
Right.
You get into this giant elevator cart, and you have 3, pews, basically. So but there's a center aisle down the first 2, and the back row has a seat in the center.
Right.
And so you sit in the pew type thing, and it has a little bar that comes across your knees, except I got the seat in the center on the back row, where there was no bar. So they gave me a seatbelt, like a Volvo or something, to buckle myself into. And so I buckled in, and the bellhop character who's getting everyone in an orderly way says, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind tugging on that seatbelt?" And he just want to see I got it clicked. Yeah. So I tug on the end, where the latch is in, and it's good. And he's like, no, sir, the other end. Zhink! It comes way, way out, 1.5 foot out from me. It's not very tight, is it? I'm like, no. Good day, sir. Ding! Closes the door. The ride starts. And basically, it does tighten, but I think it tightens to the constraints of a normal adult, which I was not at 16.
Right.
15, 16, or whatever I was at this age. Whenever this was. And so basically, there's a great photo of me. They did a little, mid-ride snap. We should have bought the damn photo. Mid-ride snap of it. And basically, you see me flying about 1 foot above the seat and tethered by the seatbelt on the drop. My dad's looking up at me.
Yeah.
And it's just the top of my head is cut off from the camera.
Right. I'm pretty sure that you actually did buy that photo, because I think I've seen it.
Okay, that sounds like something my dad would have done.
Yeah.
I would not have been...
that's definitely a keeper photo, unlike all the other photos they take.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we've got the one... at Splash Mountain and so forth. And the Splash Mountain photo, it was timed so poorly.
Yeah.
I looked so disinterested in the ride because it comes right as you're cresting the big drop. Yeah. And I'm just looking and pouting a little bit.
Yeah.
Because what I'm actually doing is I'm looking, trying to see where the bottom is.
Yeah.
But they actually did a really cool thing at Splash Mountain, these misters to hide the bottom.
Oh.
So you have no idea how big the drops. I'm like, how deep is this? And so it looks like I'm just completely disinterested in the ride. The Tower of Terror one, though, that was a mid-ride photo worth keeping. I hope we do have that one somewhere.
Yeah.
I will ask my parents, and if we do have it, I will find it and get it onto Haunt Weekly's Facebook page.
Sounds good.
How's that for a plan?
That sounds like a challenge.
I will put up at work. But yeah, long story short, it is closing, and if you want to check it out, I do highly recommend sitting in the middle of the back seat. Not that you have control over that.
Yeah.
That is completely luck. But, it will be closing January 2nd to make way for a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And once again, just the California one, we've heard nothing about the Orlando one. And the thing about the Orlando one is they have a lot more land.
Right.
In the Orlando parks. So they probably don't have to close as many things to make room for new attractions.
Right. They can just build on some of the empty land.
So why didn't they just do that with Alien Encounters?
Because it was too scary. Yes.
That's my expert commentary on that.
Yes, that's very mature expert commentary there. All right.
All right, let's move on to more sad news.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know, we're starting off with the bummers today.
Yeah. So next we've got, the Haunted Web of Horrors in Cordova, Tennessee will not be opening this year. Yeah. It's a very popular Mid-Southwest Halloween attraction.
And Mid-South Haunted attraction. It apparently put in something like 25,000 people through last year.
Yeah.
Not a small attraction by any stretch. I had not heard of these guys before this article, but apparently I should have.
Yeah, well, we haven't looked much at going to haunts in Tennessee.
Yeah, Memphis, even though we passed through Memphis on the way to St. Louis,
right,
we never really looked at Memphis haunts.
Yeah, because we've never planned on stopping in Tennessee.
Yeah,
but we should look at it.
Well, and the other thing is, anyone who's ever done the drive from 55 from New Orleans to St. Louis knows you kind of barely nick Memphis. You don't really go through Memphis. You just kind of look and see signs to Memphis at various points along the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then and that's also where if you don't pay really close attention, you might wind up in Memphis because the road does weirdness. So usually if you're doing that drive, you're trying to avoid going to Memphis.
Right.
But yeah, but this is really, really sad because the reason they're not opening isn't because of lack of interest, isn't because of lack of business, isn't a fire code violation.
No, it's not a lack of money because they've already put $25,000 into it this year.
Nothing wrong, and the owner of the property is leasing it to another customer, and they had to vacate. Yeah. They were told this 3 weeks before opening.
Yeah, you want to talk about sucky timing?
Yeah, I mean,
it's just horrible.
It's a situation where you just want to go to the owner of the property and go, you could have just let him finish the season.
Yeah.
Extra 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Let him finish the season. Let him get the money.
Any word on what's taking over the space?
No, they've not said in the articles I found. No.
Okay.
No word on that.
Interested to find that out.
No, they did say they're probably going to seek out a new location for next year.
Right.
But one of the things they were putting the plea out for, and the reason we put it here, is they need volunteers to help tear this down.
Yeah.
Because they had it all built up pretty much. I've seen the photos. It looks pretty cool. But now they need help tearing it down and moving it out and putting it in storage.
Yeah, and that's going to be a heartbreaking job.
Yes. But if you are in the area and have the time and can help, please consider doing so. They're a great charity. Last year they raised well north of $500,000 for youth villages.
Right.
So these guys are a great charity haunt, and they just really have gotten screwed this year, it seems like.
Yeah, and I guess that will have to be something to talk about in our owning your building versus renting space. Yeah. Because that will be coming up shortly, too. Yeah,
and that's another area. I was just thinking about this as we were talking. Another area we're seeing two strategies here in New Orleans.
Right.
You have, you've got all three variations of the strategy. You've got Mortuary that owns the building.
Right.
House of Shock that rents.
Yep. And
Chamber of Horrors that's using just spare space.
Right.
It's basically being offered to them at a low price.
Yeah.
So they're renting, but kind of, it's because it's a vacant space. They're doing that classic approach to it, which actually is a very smart way to do it. Honestly, and that's not a knock at all. That's a pretty smart way to go about it, especially for a new haunt.
Right. Yeah, and we've also talked to people who have set up haunts in flea markets.
Yes.
The kind of flea market, or I guess they have names elsewhere that are not flea markets, but that have little rooms and you can rent out the little spaces. So it's
little
more
shopping malls within flea markets.
Yeah. So that's an interesting idea too, and something else to think about whenever you're starting out.
Yeah, it's So yeah, but this is kind of a horror story about renting and leasing property versus owning it.
Yeah.
So this type of thing should send chills up the haunt industry's spine a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding.
I could not fathom being told 3 weeks before opening, oh, by the way, we're kicking you out now. You got to tear all this down and get out.
Yeah, I know. That's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible and it's mean.
It's mean poo-poo heads.
And they didn't think about the children.
Expert commentary from Team Haunt Weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very sad story, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll shift gears to a haunt that is opening this year. This one is confusing.
Yeah.
But this has been all over the news, so it seemed like something we had to talk about. Artist Pedro Reyes, I think his name's Reyes is opening Doomocracy, a political haunted house. It will open between October 7th and November 6th at Sunset Park's Brooklyn Army Terminal in New York City. Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's being commissioned by Creative Time. And Creative Time is an organization that has commissioned a lot of very large-scale artworks over the years.
Right.
They've done stuff all over the country. And they did one project in New Orleans I was reading about. I'm trying to remember what it was. They did a project in New Orleans. They do projects all over the country, all over the world, in fact. Typically very large scale, and this is their latest one. Now, they currently have a Kickstarter for this.
Uh-huh.
And they've not quite raised, nearly as much as they want.
Right. Yeah, but basically they want to put a quote-unquote funhouse mirror up to politics.
Yeah.
And what I did find very interesting is if they get all the money from Kickstart, it's going to be free to the public to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. Yeah, it's going to be a free haunt if they're able to get the money. Now, currently they only have 27,500 out of 80,000 they want, and there's 23 days left to go.
Right, and I do think that it kind of blurs the line between art exhibit and haunted house.
Well,
because since it's not built and there are no reviews, we don't really know what it's going to be.
Now, we know absolutely nothing about it other than what the little Kickstarter video had to say about it, which was next to nothing.
Right.
And what the artist himself has said about it, which has been very, very little.
Yeah.
So we don't have much to go on, but it's really generated a lot of buzz in New York press. I've been seeing a lot. We're pulling this article from, Rachel Sugar at Curb New York, but there are articles all over the New York media about this.
Yeah.
It's been huge in terms of the interest in this. And a couple thoughts on this is, one, we've talked to Kyle and so forth, who worked at the Haunted Basement.
Right.
Which originally was an art exhibit / haunted house.
Yes.
Because remember, it was in the gallery of a basement. It was in a gallery, basically. So,
right.
And the long and short of it was meant to be a haunted attraction / art exhibit / performance art thing.
Right. It was supposed to get you to feel uncomfortable as well as scare you and make you think about the situations you were put in.
Yeah. It was not meant to be purely just a scare you haunted house.
Right.
So this type of thing has been done before, at least in that regard, but I don't think I've heard of one involving politics.
Yeah, and I'm not... It's interesting because of the political climate right now and because of the choices that we have, and we are not going into politics on this show.
No.
But,
well...
And I think that's why it's coming out now.
I think one of the things that's fascinating is that the haunt industry kind of follows cabbie rules. There are certain things you don't talk about.
Right.
And politics is on the list.
Yep.
And oddly enough, religion is not on the list because we do a lot of things invoking witches and devils and things like that in this industry. But politics is definitely... Listen, the reason is because we're an industry that works in bulk.
Right.
We need the largest audience we can. We need thousands and thousands of people to come pour money into us so we can stay open. And if you divide your audience by getting politically engaged one way or another,
right,
then you risk not getting that money.
Yeah.
So, but by doing this Kickstarter and then opening it free to the public, they've usurped that whole process. They're able to talk freely about these divisive issues and not have any concern about recouping their costs. Right.
Now, really quick, because we know that there are several, knockoff horror movie companies that do this also. They get the money up front and then they produce the movie so that they don't have to worry about...
Asylum, I believe, is the big one you're thinking of, yeah.
Would this work for a full-size haunt?
It could.
Yeah. And that would be a pretty interesting thing. So if your community's really behind you and you're able to... You say, we need this much money to open and make what we need to make this year.
And I'm kind of writing show notes in my head for a possible episode about this in part.
Yeah.
Maybe alternate business models for haunts episode. One thing I'd be interested in is how does that change the relationship with code compliance and, basically business licensing and all that.
Right.
When you're going at it that way, when you're opening up something free to the public.
Right, that's basically run off of donations.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it would have to be on where you put it.
Obviously.
And, this is definitely a topic for another time.
Yes, this is. But it's an interesting idea, to say the least. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this closer in. Like I said, it doesn't open until October 7th. And it will stay open through November 6th, which coincidentally is, I think, 2 days before the election.
Yeah.
Which is a good time to stay open until, probably.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating experiment. Definitely one worth following for a lot of reasons in the industry. And I really don't think I've seen anything like this.
No.
Not quite like this, no. Okay, moving on. This is more good news. This is really, really good news, to my ears at least.
Yeah.
HellsGate Haunted House is finally opening in Lockport, Illinois, near outside Detroit. Southwest of Chicago. We're talking about Detroit later. That was already in my brain.
Yeah.
Outside Chicago later this year. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
These guys have been put through the ringer trying to get this very huge, very expensive haunt open, and they were supposed to open in 2015,
right?
But were unable to. Basically a week before they were to open, they came forward and said, "You know what? We're not really ready. We don't want to rush it. We don't want to get this haunt off on the wrong foot.
Right.
We want to do this right." And they've dropped a lot of money into this haunt.
Yeah, and I think it's a really smart move to, if you know you're not going to be able to put on the show that you want to put on, to just hold off a little bit if you're able to.
If you're able to is the problem, though.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the advantage that these guys have, because these are veteran haunt builders who have very successful haunts elsewhere.
Right.
It is a combination of Legacy Events and Zombie Productions. Mm-hmm. Two companies that both have haunted attractions elsewhere. That gives them the breathing room and to sink money into this and be able to hold off a year.
Yeah.
Because they've got other businesses. And a brand new upstart haunt probably couldn't do that.
Right. And I really love how they built in their story. Because their story is basically off of the urban legends of the house that if you get all the way through, you get a free ticket.
Yes.
Now in this one, you have to find a special key in order to get your ticket free. But the free ticket does exist.
Yes.
And the haunted house does exist.
It does. At least to a degree. This isn't... Yeah. Because we've all heard that silly urban legend.
Right. We talked about it on one of the previous podcasts.
Yeah. It's a haunted attraction. It's got 85 bajillion D stories to it.
Yeah.
It takes 10 years to go through.
Have to sign a waiver.
10 waivers. And,
yeah.
Donate blood before you go in for DNA sample and all that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's this crazy haunt that's supposed to be so scary, no one's ever made it through, but they promise, and it costs like $200 to get in.
Right.
But they promise you that you'll get your money back if you finish it.
Right.
And the haunt never existed.
Yeah.
It's a total urban legend. It never happened.
Right.
Not in the whole of human history has it happened. And Leonard Pickle was talking about this at HauntCon too, that it's urban legend, how long it's been around. Because, and it was funny because when he was talking about it, it was around for like decades before when he started.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I heard the legends growing up in Texas too.
Yeah, they were I heard them in South Carolina.
Yeah.
They were everywhere.
So every location has one of these urban legends, and these guys just took the urban legend and made it their haunt.
Yeah, made it the story.
Which is pretty freaking genius.
Yeah, so according to them, the haunt in the urban legend was Hell's Gate. And it was open in the 80s, which it's really, really frustrating to me. It's really, really not frustrating, but it's really, really disheartening to me when they set a story way back in the past and pick when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know.
You jerks.
Making him feel old like that.
You dicks. How dare you make me feel old. But yeah, so they set it back in the 1980s, and they've even gotten like a fake commercial for the Hell's Gate.
Right.
They've really done a great job playing to this urban legend and that. But yeah, they're actually opening this year.
Yay!
Yay! And they have had issue after issue after issue trying to get open. It seems like, and the latest one was that they applied to get the city of Lockport to allow them to use the parking lot at the metro station 2 miles away. The idea being that's where the customers are going to park.
Right.
And they're going to shuttle in because they have spaces at their property.
Right.
But they've only got enough for their staff and for TV crews and things like that.
Yeah.
They do not have enough for customers,
Not a big parking spot.
Yeah. So the basic idea is they're going to have people park at this huge metro lot that's city-owned and then shuttle them. And they are paying to put up signs, pay police overtime, pay to clean the lot after they're done, and hire staff to direct traffic there.
Right.
So they're
that's a big hurdle to get across.
Yeah, that's a big hurdle to get across. And the city also loaned them $125,000 to improve the road leading to the attraction too.
Yeah.
Sort of a private-public partnership there. But yeah, they really have had to deal with a lot of stuff, and it looks like a completely awesome haunted house from the footage they have and the little trailer they posted. If I were in the Chicago area, you'd better believe this to be a haunt I'd be very, very excited about going to.
Definitely.
Now, I'm not sure how enthused I am about a 2-mile shuttle ride, but...
Yeah, well, it's better than a 40-minute shuttle ride.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah,
and if the road is really that bad, I don't know if I want the car on it anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, the whole thing about it playing up to the urban legend is really, really slick. So, we'll see how it works out for them.
Okay.
All right, well, more Universal Halloween Horror Nights news this time around.
Yeah.
They are adding a virtual reality haunted house to their events this year.
It's interesting.
That's one word?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, the long and short of it is they are adding adding the repository is the name of it. It's a virtual reality haunted house. It combines virtual reality with live action for Halloween Horror Nights. Now, I'm at least curious. I got to admit, I'm very curious, but I've got to admit, the price tag makes me a little less curious.
Yeah, well, I am curious, and it's because we're always looking for what's the new technology that's going to take off in our industry.
Yeah.
And I don't see it being virtual reality, honestly. But if somebody is implementing it, I want to see how they're doing it to see if it can be brought into a full-time, full-scale haunt.
Yeah, my question
Not that Universal isn't, but...
No. Well, the thing about it is this. Virtual reality requires you basically to not be able to see. You have to immerse yourself with those goggles. You can't see or hear outside things.
Right.
How do you combine that with live action people? I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I don't know how it's done.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how it's played out.
Maybe it's going to be,
parts of it virtual reality, parts of it not.
Either that or people are sitting immersed in the virtual reality world and actors are watching what they're seeing on screen and touching them when they're touched in the simulation.
It could be, but
like something like that.
The price tag is kind of the obstacle for me on this because this is not included in Halloween Horror Nights. You have to pay an additional $50.
Yeah.
Well, $49.99. I'm sorry, $50 to go to this per person.
Right.
Which means, like, for the three of us, it would be $150 plus our Halloween Horror Nights admission to do this.
Yeah. And is the Halloween Horror Nights, I forget, is that in addition to the regular park price?
No, I think it's just regular park price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure it is. No, it is a deal. I think I don't remember how it works, but I remember you can buy tickets to Halloween Horror Nights. And you have to leave the park and then come back is what Dawn told us.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre approach to it.
Yeah, it's always a little bit weird when they have events inside of parks.
Yeah.
Like I know the few concerts I've been to at water parks and so forth, you had to pay to go to the water park and pay to go to the concert.
Yeah.
It was just, it gets kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Okay. And admission for the record, just to illustrate the point here. If you are not a Florida resident, admission for a single night at Halloween Horror Night is $105.
So it would be $155 for that plus this.
Now you can, and this clarifies it, you can do the Halloween Horror Nights add it onto your regular park admission for $67, basically.
Okay. And
so it is an add-on ticket, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I
you're
thought,
right,
but I wasn't sure. So you're already adding on Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
If you do the park during the day.
Yeah.
So.
Because that could be the thing. You could literally pay, and by the way, there are apparently different prices for different days, too.
Right.
Like the Thursday days are cheaper.
Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry. The prices fluctuate for Florida residents. Jesus Christ, get someone with a Florida ID. Because it's the same price as the Halloween Horror Nights add-on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by itself. And prices for Florida residents range from $56 to $83, depending upon the day of the week you go.
Yeah.
So, but still, I don't know. That is a lot of money for a single haunted attraction that I'm not 100% sure how it comes together.
Right. I mean, I would be going for curiosity and research.
Yeah.
If anybody goes and does the virtual reality, I want to know how it works. Please let us know.
Yes, please let us know. Once again, we are Haunt Weekly on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know either way.
Yep.
All right. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us, all that jazz.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Another potential haunted attraction will be opening up soon. This one is in Gardner, Massachusetts, west of Boston. Robert Conti purchased what is known as the SKP Peace Haunted Victorian Mansion.
Right. It's supposedly an actually haunted location. Mm-hmm. An actual haunted location, I should say.
Yeah.
By somebody who died there in a fire.
So, and he wants to actually turn it into something, it sounds like the mortuary to us, where he's going to have an actual haunted attraction there.
Right.
He's going to have a place where you can stay the night.
Yeah.
And he's going to offer ghost tours as well.
Right.
And I think the mortuary does all those things.
At various points in their history they have.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do all of them, but I know that they have done.
They're all things the mortuary has done, yes.
Yes. I will agree with that.
But like I said, it's supposed to be actually haunted. One person died in a fire in the master bedroom, and there are other people, other specters supposedly hanging around. Like, I'm not too big into that's a side of the haunt industry I'm not really that into.
Right.
But it is a cool idea to take a building with that kind of urban legend and that kind of mystique to it, and then putting an actual animatronic haunted attraction in it.
Right.
And I think it's got a lot of potential. And
it does, and this goes back to, like, the guys in Chicago. It builds off of, it has a built-in story.
Yeah.
Which is easier to work with.
Yeah, and the photos of the building in the article are just breathtaking.
Yeah.
This is a gorgeous mansion.
Yeah.
And ambiance handled.
Yeah. No need for anything else there.
Yeah. And in fact, he comments that basically this is a historic building, but we wouldn't change much of it if we could.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah.
We're in fact, he's doing a restoration, not a renovation, as he so carefully puts it.
Right.
All right, so now we're going to talk about some international stories real fast. Shifting gears. An unfortunate story coming out of the UK right now.
Right.
A very, very famous, quote-unquote, really haunted house was featured on the TV show Most Haunted. A woman was sexually assaulted during an organized group ghost hunt at a haunted manor.
Yeah.
It took place at the Halsham House near Withersea in East Yorkshire, which I so love British names because they are so whimsical to my ear. But yes, apparently the woman either got separated from her group or something happened and she was supposedly sexually assaulted in a churchyard next door, basically right nearby.
Right.
And this is a warning, I guess, to those who put on haunt tours.
Right.
And do any kind of attraction involves tour groups. Because we've done several haunted tours here in New Orleans and Charleston and Columbia.
Yeah.
That we kind of were not... We were kind of stalking that group. We weren't actually formally part of the tour. They were right by our apartment, okay?
We just happened to be walking the same way they were, and they were new, and we didn't know that they
We had no idea what was going on. No one told us there were ghost tours starting in our city. So we just accidentally followed along for about 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, this guy's talking about cool history stuff.
Yeah, we thought it was a university thing at first.
Yeah.
Then we learned what was going on. But anywho, basically these things can happen to these types of tours. You have to take steps to protect yourself and protect your customers.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have much I want to add to it other than to say be careful out there and just keep this in mind as you're organizing your groups and planning how the group is going to operate and where it's going to go.
Right.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, so police are investigating this. That's really all we know at this time. It's a very, very brief article on it.
And are there any suggestions for how to help? Maybe give out whistles or something? Something so if you get separated from your group, you could get back in touch with them?
Well, one thing I think would be good, and I don't think any of the groups we've been in have done this, have a map of where the tour is going.
Right.
And say if, you do get separated, this is where we're going next.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You can catch up here so that way people don't get lost. I remember one group we were on, there was a person in a mobile's one of those scooters.
Right.
I think he had like a broken ankle or something. He was in one of the scooters.
Yeah.
And we almost accidentally left him.
Yeah.
Like 3 times.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it.
Because New Orleans curbs are fun. That's why. Especially in
the French Quarter.
Yeah.
Because the French Quarter was built way before things like handicap accessibility were even pondered.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not very handicap friendly.
No, the French Quarter is not. So yeah, we nearly left this poor guy behind several times. So stuff like that, you have to think about and consider.
Yeah, we wound up being the tail end.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be another thing you could do is send out 2 people, one to be the tour guide and one to make sure everybody stays together at the back.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But basically, work to keep the group together.
Yep.
Okay, well, on to happier news.
Yay.
New haunted attraction is opening on Prince Edward Island in Cavendish on Prince Edward Island in Canada. Long story short, the federal and provincial governments have thrown almost $1 million Canadian dollars into the region of prove tourism, and one of the groups, the Sand Spit group, is receiving $350,000 of that in repayable funds. They will be using it to add a new drop tower.
Okay.
They will be using it to upgrade the local Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium.
Yeah. And
to build a new haunted attraction to open in 2017.
That all sounds like fun.
Yeah, and I actually really enjoy Ripley's Believe It or Not, even though they are...
Yeah.
They're somewhat cheesy and silly, but I like them. What can I say?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what fascinated me about this story was we see so many times that governments and haunts are battling one another.
Right.
Here we have the local government giving money to help open a haunt.
Right, which is pretty
cool.
impressive.
That's very, very cool. So,
very nice.
Canadians, if you're nearby, give it a check out next year. See what comes. It does not have a name yet, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no name for it. We just know a new haunt is supposed to open in 2017.
I wonder if it's going to be associated with the Ripley's haunt.
It may be. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's hope that it's new.
Happy news. We're doing happy news. Damn it, Crystal. We're doing happy news.
Sorry.
Okay, in Dubai, which we just talked about, them getting their first haunted attraction recently built by a team from here in the U.S.
Yep.
They have now also opened the world's largest indoor theme park.
Fun.
Which cost $1 billion to build. $1 billion. You can't see it, but I'm totally doing the Dr. Evil.
Of course you are. You're making the voice.
Dollars. And it includes, among many attractions, a haunted hotel. Which I think is pretty darn cool. So we're seeing, it's kind of strange. It's like the haunted attraction industry in Dubai is suddenly exploding.
Right.
And part of that is the theme park industry that's exploding there because next month, a $2.8 billion theme park will open in Dubai. Also has multiple parks within the park. It's like Parkception type thing going on here.
Yeah.
And we'll also have haunted attractions. So, yeah, apparently Dubai is becoming a destination not just for ridiculously large buildings, man-made islands, and that stuff. It's also becoming a destination for haunted attractions.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Sounds like fun.
All right. So we have a few more odds and ends before we close out for the day. Just a couple quick things. First off, Erebus. If you are in the Detroit area and you want to get involved at Erebus, for those who don't know, is the largest walk-through haunt in the world. You can actually audition for a role. Now, you've already missed the first round. That took place August 27th.
Right.
But there are more coming the 10th and 11th from 1 to 5 p.m.
Right. So this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. Get out there and audition if you are so inclined. They need actors, and they are putting out the word as wide and as far as they can, even reaching us.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of how far and wide it's going. So yeah, please, if you're in the area and you want to work at Erebus, there you go. Now is your chance. And Erebus is a haunt. It's on my bucket list of haunts that I've never been able to go to because of geography.
Right.
But I definitely want to go. I've heard so many good things about it. And our friend Dean Carls lives in the area, and every year he taunts me on Facebook about how awesome Erebus was and that he got to go. And I'm just like flipping him off from my computer.
Yeah. By the way, happy belated birthday, Dean.
Happy belated birthday, Dean. I hope it was a great one. But finally, and this one is I guess you'd say a bittersweet story in a way.
Yeah.
But artist Joel Zika, like the virus, unfortunate last name right now. But Joel Zika is working to preserve the last remaining amusement park dark rides. Now, a lot of us, these might have been the first haunted attractions you ever set foot in.
Right. Because as we've talked about before, there aren't a lot of haunted attractions geared towards kids and young teens.
And if you're our age, there just weren't a lot of haunted attractions, too. I mean, because, we were kids in the early 80s.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of options.
There wasn't a lot. I mean, my first walkthrough one, like I've talked about it before in this show, was a JC haunt.
Right.
Like so many others.
Right.
But I think my actual first haunted attraction I went through was a dark ride. And I didn't even think of it as a haunted attraction.
Right.
When thinking about my first haunted attraction.
Right.
So, yeah, but it is. It definitely is. But apparently there are not many working rides left. Currently there are less than 18 working rides in the world and only 12 in the United States.
Yeah.
And
we still have the majority of that.
Yeah.
But
he is working to preserve these rides using virtual reality.
Right.
Which this is an awesome use of virtual reality right here. I'm down with this.
Yeah.
This is great. What he does is he has a 360-degree camera rig, and he basically rides through the haunt multiple times.
Yeah.
Captures the ride, and then he's uploaded some of them to YouTube already. You can check them out if you want. Check out the link in the show notes, and like I said, it'll take you to his site where he's got some videos up already. Some of those 360-degree YouTube videos, those newfangled things. Newfangled? What am I, like 100 years old?
Yes.
But he has launched an Indiegogo campaign to seek the funds he needs to go do all of the rides. He currently has only $3,300 out of $20,000. Now, he's already done some of the rides.
Right.
He's already done, I think he said, like 5 or 6 of them in that range. But he's got a long, long way to go, especially when you factor in international travel.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I actually looked at the map he has. There is a dark ride in Alabama that we could theoretically go to at some point.
Well, we are considering an Alabama trip this haunt season, so...
Yeah, that is one of the things we did not talk about in our intro, but maybe we'll discuss it real quick when we exit out. We're almost done with the news. But yeah, so maybe we could go check out a dark ride ourselves. But yeah, I did not realize there were so few left.
Yeah.
This is like, finding out the condors are endangered or something for the first time.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like learning that your favorite animal is an endangered species.
Yeah.
It's sad. Because I really thought that these things were just everywhere. But in a way I should have known this was coming, because it used to be, I would, as a kid, go to the state fair, find the dark ride, go on it and love it. Continue that as an adult, fewer and fewer fairs I was going to had them.
Right.
And they're just not being built.
No.
Anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're very difficult to maintain. Stuff breaks and isn't easy to repair. It's not like you can just call rockauto.com or go to rockauto.com and get the parts. Yes, I need a compressor for the dummy and 3G on the...
Yeah.
Oh, you don't sell that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these rides are not long for the earth.
Right.
And that really, really saddens me. But anyways, you briefly touched on our haunt expeditions coming up.
Yes.
We are working on mapping out the haunted attractions we are going to. We have our September haunts, I think, mostly mapped out.
Yeah.
But we have Fridays and Saturday evenings in October that we're wanting to do trips on. We want to do one trip going east from New Orleans, ideally into Alabama. I think we're looking at doing like a Montgomery/Birmingham run type thing.
Mobile.
Maybe Mobile and all that too, depending upon... Well, there just isn't a whole lot in Mobile I found.
Yeah, but there's a couple down there and in Pensacola.
Yeah.
So we could do those.
We're kind of trying to keep it Gulf Coast, but it's also kind of a challenge too because there doesn't seem to be that many actually along I-10 on the Gulf Coast side. But we're going to do another one going toward Lafayette and Lake Charles, going west on I-10. I don't know if we're going to make it all the way to East Texas this year.
Right.
Because we have a few haunts in the Lake Charles area we want to check out. And given how long of a drive that already is, we may not have time for much more.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course all of it depends on how much work we get done on our haunt and how close we are to finish to be able to travel.
And of course, not just that, but personal lives and everything else. There's a million things that could go wrong as far as these trips. But if you have suggestions for haunts that are, especially if they're along I-10, that I-10 corridor between, say, we'll say Lake Charles and Pensacola.
Okay.
How's that for a corridor?
Sounds good.
Let us know. It can be, if it's a little bit off the beaten path, that's fine. But we're trying to stick to the southern half of these states right now just to save time and so we can have more freedom to finish our haunt, finish the things we have to do. Because it's always a chaotic time of year. Going to haunts, working on hours.
Yep.
It's a chaotic time of year where the pocketbook is light and the worries are heavy.
Pretty much, yeah.
So... work with us. Let us know if there are any haunts that we might have missed. Maybe we haven't found it on our 80 bajillion D Google searches. It could happen.
Yep.
Keep us posted. Let us know. And like I said, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, Haunt Weekly on Twitter. Just give us the feedback and we will see what we can do. I know Crystal is still working on the new website. She's making actually good progress from what I've seen.
Yes.
So things are going well.
I found a player that finally works. Yay!
That actually has been... don't undersell that. That's actually really flipping important because we've been trying to solve a technical challenge reporting it to our servers.
Right.
And the big one has been getting a player that works.
Yes, I've found one that will actually pull from Podbean.
So, yeah, because we want to continue using Podbean to host the files. That's been a big technical challenge. And now we seem to overcome that hurdle. We can actually focus on design and... That should be much easier.
Yeah.
Because design we've done a majillion times before.
Yes.
Anyways, so expect a new site, hopefully before too much longer, but it might have to wait till after haunt season, honestly.
It may.
Just to be honest.
It may just be a New Year kind of thing.
If so, please bear with us. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But the current site's perfectly functional.
Yeah.
But anyways, anything else to add or anything else you want to say?
Nope.
We're all done here then. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending the past, 52-ish, 52
You don't have to be exact, Jonathan.
50 plus minutes with us. We greatly appreciate your time. And until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, episode 40, doing the news number 10. We will see you guys next week. Boo. This is a dial tone.
I thought it was the emergency broadcast system.
No. Well, either way, I'm stealing from Homestar, so...